This is Mark coming to you live from G.O.A.T Visual Entertainment. Today we have with us Karega Tucker, who is the owner and founder of KT School of Basketball. Today we're going to get to know him on a personal and a professional side today. So KT, can you tell us about yourself, where you grew up, how you came to be the person you are now?
Well, that's a good question. So I grew up with two Jamaican parents, born in New York, and moved to Miami when I was about seven years old. Been living in Miami ever since. So I had my parents are very tough and strict, the Caribbean background. So I was raised that way, and I was also raised, just to work hard and strive for what you want. My dad has his own business. Many of my family members own their own. So I that bubbles inside of me. So that is a part of who I am. I own my own, and I always wanted my own. So that's a glimpse of who I am. And I'm super competitive. So that's a glimpse of, who I am, or a short story about who I am.
Are you an only child? Do you have any brothers, sisters, any children you have?
Yeah, I have two brothers, two sisters. I'm the oldest, and I also have a son who's 5 years old. So a pretty big family, and I take pride in being the oldest. So I take up the moniker of lead by example.
So let's get to the real reason you're here. Let's talk about your basketball history. Where did it begin? Where did we start? How did we get to Coach T today, as the students call you?
Yeah, so my basketball started when I was about 8 or 9, and it started with my cousin, and we, in the driveway in New York, and we saw him with the ball, and we saw him, walking and putting the ball between his legs, and me and my other cousin thought that was the coolest thing, and at the time we would always challenge each other, and my cousin would challenge us to see who can go to the end of the driveway without losing the basketball. And I would say that's where it started for me, because due to the fact that I'm so competitive, I tried over and over and over and over to do it until I did it. And from that point on, that's why I fell in love with basketball.
So we know you played for Highland Oaks Middle School, and you also played for Michael Kropp. You're the second graduating class from Kropp. Coincidence, I'm the 16th graduating class from Kropp, Lightning Strike.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, started with Highland Oaks. I went to Highland Oaks Elementary. Obviously they didn't have a basketball team, and then from there I went to Highland Oaks Middle, and they had a basketball team. My first year I didn't play because I was currently playing for my travel team at the time. And the next year I decided to try out for the team. I made the team. And from that point, I went to Michael Kropp. And Michael Kropp at the time, we only had 2 grades. They were brand new school. We only had 9th and 10th. I was a 9th grader, and I was the second graduating class. And yeah, we were the first class, especially in basketball, to get to the second round of the playoffs. So we worked hard, and within that short span of 4 years, I think we built Kropp into what it was, and what it is, and what it will be in the future.
So what about college? Did you pursue any professional basketball once you got to college level?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I didn't think much about college. All I wanted to do was play basketball, and that's all I knew, play basketball. And when you come from certain parents from a Caribbean background, is my dad would always tell me to get a trade. So I didn't even know anything about basketball after high school, because that wasn't something that was in my household. But once I graduated, I had opportunity to go play ball or to get a scholarship at a school in Alabama, and that eventually fell through. And so from there I went to Tallahassee Community College, and I didn't get picked up there because I learned that when you try to be a walk-on on a team, it's very difficult. So I tried there, it didn't work, and then from there I went to a school in South Carolina, and that was my first introduction to college basketball, and they gave me an opportunity. Played there for a year, and then I came back home, and I ended up playing and graduating from Barry University.
So you said that it looks like you've had so much experience when it comes to playing basketball. What were some of your biggest challenges, though, as you were playing?
Well, some of my biggest challenges, especially for me, was my grades. Making sure I had the grades to play basketball, and making sure I had the grades to remain on the team. So that was one of my biggest challenges. And then another big challenge, I guess I would say, not for myself because I never looked at it as a challenge, but I guess for people who viewed me or coaches who wanted to recruit me, was my height. Coming out of high school, I was probably 5'8" max, and I was very lucky that once I got to college, I hit a humongous growth spurt and I grew to be 6'2", and I think that was a benefit. But like I said, being short at that time, I never knew I was short because I never played small. So I think that was one of my biggest challenges, me maintaining my grades and staying focused on sports. And as I said, my height was a challenge for other coaches trying to recruit me.
So, I know everyone who plays a sport professionally, they want to go pro. Did you ever consider going pro?
Oh yeah. I mean, as I said, when I got to college, then I wasn't even thinking pro. I just loved playing basketball because that's all I did was play basketball. And as I came to the end of my career, I would start getting these letters, these emails. Facebook was popular at the time from these agents who wanted to represent me. So of course I wanted to go pro. And
so what happened with that? Why didn't you go pro?
Well, I pursued it heavily. I was invited to many at the time NBDL camps. I was invited to many overseas camps, prior to that, just graduating from high school, I had an opportunity to go play for a semi-pro team in Virginia. But before that, I was in the hospital. I got sidelined. I had to have emergency surgery. I had my appendix. It actually ruptured inside of me. So I had emergency surgery. I was in the hospital for about 10 days, lost about 10 pounds. And, as things happened, that same day I came out, the coach from Virginia for a semi-pro team in Virginia called me, and unfortunately I couldn't attend because I just came out of the hospital. So I think that was, one of the things that was a kind of a speed bump that kind of slowed things down for me.
So do you think that there was an alternative for you going pro? Like, what did you do because you could not go pro?
Well, I mean, I still tried, but at the end of the day, you graduate college, you got a degree, and you got to support yourself. So at the time, I was still, working on going pro. I would drive to these camps that I was invited to in Orlando and Tampa and things like that, and I was still working. So my alternative, as time went on, was like, okay, I love it so much, and I was pretty much self-taught myself, the skill level. So I was like, all right, let me start teaching these kids how to play the game the right way.
Okay, so I like what you said. Let me start teaching the kids to play the game the right way. And that's where we get to KT's School of Basketball. Now, you're the founder and the CEO of that. Can you explain that to the viewers?
Yeah, KT School of Basketball is me, Karega Tucker, School of Basketball. And I just did something that's relevant to these kids today. All these kids go to school, and they want to play basketball. So I figured you have different levels of teaching, and it starts, for me, the basic level of basketball starts with conditioning, then it starts with fundamentals, mentality, mindset, preparation, and all these things start from the beginning level, even before you pick up a ball and shoot, and I thought that was missing, and that was something that I picked up, and I ran with it.
So for your program, do you have any type of requirements that your students must uphold to continue to participate in the KT School of Basketball?
Yes, number one is academics. Education is the number one thing. That these kids must maintain their grades. Now, I know not everyone is good at school or motivated, but it's for me, having academics as a requirement, or even the base requirement to be a part of it, is that they get to learn that they have to do things that they don't like doing at times. And the next thing is dedication. When kids come to me, they dedicate themselves for a minimum of 4 weeks, and within 4 weeks, that means they dedicate themselves to do exactly what I'm telling them, and trusting in me that I have the best interests, and I'm here to help them develop into what they choose to be basketball wise.
Okay, so I know some students, they remember teachers, they remember their coaches years coming down the path. What do you consider yourself? Do you a teacher, a mentor, a coach? What do you think you are?
Well, as as the years went on, and as KT School of Basketball grew and progressed, especially in the beginning, I looked at myself as a trainer, you know, basic trainer. And as time went on, I started to realize that I was giving these kids life lessons, you know, more than what basketball is about. I started to talk to these kids as they were my own kids and teaching them life lessons. So, you know, from then to now, from looking at myself as a trainer to now, I look at myself as a life coach, you know, a life leader, a life teacher of life experiences and you know, expectations of what they want to be, and you know, and teaching them goals and things like that. So I say a life coach is, you know, what I view myself as.
That's wonderful. And what are some of your plans that you have next or in the future for KT School of Basketball?
Well, KT School of Basketball is currently, we're currently in the process of starting our own travel teams. Starting from the, you know, middle school level, and we're starting a farm system. So just like how baseball is a farm system, we're starting a farm system where these kids can come in and they're going to learn the basics. So by the time they do get to the level where they're ready to play, you know, they will have the fundamental and the skill set and the experience. We also are starting a K for Kicks, where we're accepting donated sneakers from people who have people who have sneakers that are in good condition, and these sneakers will be donated to kids who don't have sneakers. Not many kids have sneakers or even the proper sneakers to play basketball. So you know, we want to touch on that, and you know, from there we plan on growing, and we also have apparel coming out. So you know, we just KT School of Basketball is just building a brand and something that's solid and something that's going to continue to help, you know, mold these kids as they move throughout their life.
So as we get ready to sign off, what are some of the ways that interested parents or students will be able to reach out and contact you?
Well, if you want to reach out to me, you can always reach me on my Instagram at KT School of Basketball. You can always write me. You can email me, you know, at KT School of Basketball at gmail.com. You can also call me, text me. If you need my number, like I said, email me and I give it out to you, or DM me. So those are some of the ways people reach out to me, and just word of mouth. You know, I think, you know, when you do a good job, people tend to speak on you positively. So, you know, I've been also advertising through word of mouth. So those are some of the ways and some of the outlets that people can get in touch with me. Also, you can check out, you know, my YouTube channel at KT School of Basketball.
So guys, there you have it, our personal and professional interview with Coach T. If you want any more information, please reach out to him, and I'm sure he'll get right back with you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody walking in and walking out.
Football.
This dog barking.
You can't work with that, huh?
Whew.